Well, the Gopher football team back in the 30s and early 40s, before the war, had won multiple national championships.
The Minnesota Gophers football team was the biggest game in town by far.
You did your yard work, and the Gophers game was on in the background. Ray Christensen was the voice of the Gophers, and they were a big deal. And it was people from all over the state would make the pilgrimage to Memorial Stadium.
And then Murray Warmath came in, and Murray was a good coach.
Had a couple of good teams early, but then there was a lot of pressure on him. And after the 59 season, he had been hung in effigy outside one of the dorms on campus. Garbage was thrown on his lawn, and people were demanding that he be fired.
While there may have been questions about spunk and spirit, Coach Warmath could not be criticized for his revolutionary recruiting.
His significant contribution is that he recruited African Americans to play football for the Gophers.
He found Carl Eller, Bobby Bell, Bill Muncie. Now, the alumni in Minnesota were saying, well, we've had a few black players here, but that's one at a time. Warmath went out and recruited 6, 7, 8 players at a time.
The University of Minnesota had African American players going back to the legendary Bobby Marshall at the turn of the century. But the school, which had enforced segregated student housing and other intolerant practices, had also been complicit in the racism of the times on the field.
The university would sideline those players when they were playing Southern schools. And Minnesota was not the only school guilty of this kind of travesty.
By the mid-50s, Northern teams began to invite African American players to their campuses. But Murray Warmath did more than just recruit black players. He made one his quarterback.
Sandy Stevens, the quarterback, was the leader of the 1960 team.
A quarterback sneak sends Stevens across, and Minnesota is back in the lead.
An unwritten rule in the Big Ten, as well as probably other schools, that quarterbacks, they were always going to be white.
It just tells me that there was leadership around that football team then that saw past race and wanted to win.
Minnesota's Sandy Stevens heaves a terrific pass to Tom Hall. Bill Muncie skids away and goes 27 yards for a Minnesota TD.
They were a powerhouse. I mean, they went through the Big Ten like water through a sieve.
Bill Muncie slips through the left side, gets away, and goes 27 yards for a Minnesota TD.
But I'm going to brag, we picked them to win. And boy, I must say this, we're going to whip Iowa.
The Gophers beat Iowa in the year's premier matchup. The two teams would end up sharing the Big Ten title.
And the Gophers were voted as national champions.